April 8th, 2026 meeting of the San Mateo County Board of Education will come to order. As is our practice, this meeting will be recorded. The board provides remote access for members of the public and welcomes community members joining in person and remotely. The board is following the requirements of Senate Bill SB 707, which enables remote participation by board members only under specific circumstances. We use simultaneous interpretation in Spanish for those attending virtually through the end of public comment, and translation will continue further into the meeting if people are utilizing the channel. Thank you to our interpreters, Ana Cruz and Kimberly Larios, for joining us remotely. For meeting attendees wishing to access the Spanish translation channel on Zoom, please click on the interpretation button on the menu bar. We ask speakers to be mindful of the Spanish interpretation and speak slowly and clearly. Item 1B is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. There is a motion to approve the agenda made by Trustee Gerard and a second by Trustee Alvaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion passes with a vote of 6-0, and the agenda for tonight's meeting has been approved. Item 2 is public comment. Guidelines for public comment are available on the SMCOE website and in board docs, and on the table outside the boardroom in both English and in Spanish. For speakers who require Spanish interpretation, our interpreters, Ms. Cruz and Ms. Larios, will interpret following each speaker's comments. At this time, members of the public may provide comment for topics not included on the approved agenda. Please note that the County Board of Education does not act upon any matter that has not been agendized except under limited circumstances as permitted by law. It is the policy of the County Board to refer matters raised in this forum to the Superintendent for investigation and/or action where appropriate. Superintendent Chavez, do we have any comments submitted prior to the meeting for topics not on the approved agenda?
No comments were submitted.
Thank you. Speakers are also invited to make live comment and will have 3 minutes to speak. Please make sure to keep within the time limits. To make a comment over Zoom, members of the public may use the raise hand feature. Instructions for using this feature are provided as an attachment in the board packet. Once the hand is raised, please wait to be acknowledged by Superintendent Chavez. Superintendent Chavez, are there any members of the public attending remotely who wish to make a comment at this time for topics not on the approved agenda?
I do not see any raised hands.
Thank you. Members of the public may also provide live comment in person. Do we have any submitted cards?
We do.
Oh,
We have one
great.
card submitted by Nels Delander. Come to the podium, please.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nels Delander, and I'm a field representative of Carver's Local 217 of San Mateo County. I'm here tonight to introduce pre-qualification enhancement document that will help San Mateo school districts make our public construction projects are done by responsible, qualified, and community-focused contractors. This ordinance applies to larger projects, those worth 1 million or more. It sets clear rules for who can bid on these jobs, so we get the best value for tax dollars and support good jobs right here in our community. Here's what it does. First, it makes sure contractors use state-approved apprenticeship programs. This means workers are properly trained and safe on the job. Second, it requires contractors to provide healthcare for the workers. Because these are public works projects, healthcare costs are already built into the prevailing wage. So this requirement is simply ensures that those funds are used as intended to keep workers healthy and productive. Third, it encourages hiring local workers. That keeps jobs and money in our community stay in our own community. As a field representative in our county, I witnessed bad acting contractors who participate in felonies, such as wage theft, tax fraud, and misclassification of workers. We should not allow these contractors to build in the schools our children attend. This is about building smarter, safer, and stronger while supporting local workers and using our public funds wisely. By establishing these standards, you create a level playing field that attracts responsible bidders, knowing they won't be lowballed by bad actor contractors that cheat the system. I'm here to ask for your support by putting this ordinance on an agenda item to help me protect the workers, public funds, our communities, and our children. Thank you for your time.
Any other submitted cards?
No other cards
Thank
were
you.
submitted.
Thank you. Public comment addressing a specific agenda item will be heard after the board's discussion on the item. If members of the public wish to speak to a specific agenda item, please use the raise hand feature when the item is announced, or if in person, submit a card in advance of the item. Cards can be found on the table outside of the boardroom and given to a staff member when completed. Item 3A, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2026 regular board meeting as presented? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2026 regular board meeting made by trustee Gerard and a second by trustee Love. Is there any further discussion?
It's
Oh, my apologies. There was a motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2026 regular board meeting made by trustee Love and a second by trustee Gerard. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes with a vote of 6-0, and the minutes of the March 18, 2026 regular board meeting have been approved. Item 4 is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is not debatable and requires a unanimous vote for passage. An item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular order of business for separate discussion and action if any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion to approve the consent agenda made by trustee Gerard and a second by trustee Arias. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes with a vote of 6-0, and the consent agenda has been approved. For item 5A, we have superintendent's comments. Superintendent Chavez, do you have any comments to share?
I do. Thank you very much, President Torres. So like many of us, I was invited by County Executive Mike Callaghy to attend the and speak at the vehicle license fee restoring local funding press conference yesterday. The county's goal is to work with state leaders in Sacramento to fix the outdated funding mechanism and ensure that the county receives the full amount of funding that it's owed, that is in that totals over $150 million in the last 2 years. And so during the press conference, I highlighted the impact of the funding shortfall on critical programs that support our students and families. These include behavioral and mental health services, the Big Lift, library services, and student safety initiatives. The event was well attended. I did see President Torres and Trustee Love there supporting the event. And then on a positive note, Supervisor Corzo shared that there are initial conversations with the Office of the Governor to address the issue. So that was a positive. And in your folders, you'll find a one-pager that highlights the funding shortfalls and the impact of the funding so that you have it for information. So that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you so much. For item 6A, the board will move to closed session to hear Interdistrict Attendance Appeal 26-3, filed on behalf of a student currently residing in La Honda Pescadero Unified School District by requesting to attend school in the Woodside School District. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Thank you. Upon conclusion of the IAA, the board will return to open session to report on any actions taken in closed session.
Yeah, I texted him already.
Thank you. For item 7A, the board will report on action taken in closed session. And for IAA 26-3, the board voted to approve by a vote of 6-0. For item 8A, the board will engage in a first reading of updated board policy 0460, local control and accountability plan, board policy 3100, budget adoption and revision, board bylaw 9224, oath and affirmation, board bylaw 9260, legal protection, and board bylaw 9270, conflict of interest. No action is required. These will come back to the board at its April 22nd, 2026 meeting for second readings and action. Superintendent Chavez?
Yes, thank you, President Torres. Yes, the subcommittee met on March 16th to review the recommended and updated policies issued by CSBA, and the policies and board bylaws that you listed are in the packet for review. The highlighted parts are the items that are different from our current adopted policies. So it's new language and new adjustments for your review. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Are there, oh, good. Any comments or questions from the public?
No raised hands.
Thank you. As stated, there is no action to take on this item. For item 8B, the draft of the 2026-2027 board meeting calendar is before the board for review. It will be brought back at the next board meeting on April 22nd, 2026 for approval. Are there any questions? Trustee Benini?
My only question is around the governance workshop date, noting that it is an election year, and that will be only, I think, one day after the election in 26. So, I mean, we don't know what will happen, right? So it might be, in my opinion, better to plan for a later date potentially, because we wouldn't have seated a new, if there were new board member. And it would be better to have the whole board present as going forward for the year. Does that make sense?
Well, and I need to pull it up because I think we did take that into account, and I think that's.
Well, it's noted for November 4th.
Oh, right. But there's another one for the 30th, and that's a longer one. On a Saturday from 9 to 3, taking into account that there would be a new board member,
Okay.
or if there would be any new board members to kind of catch them up during that time. But I think
It just seems like a strange date, given if there is a transition. If there's not, then it won't be. But
Yeah.
if there is, it will be.
Yeah, but I think that's also why we chose that January one. I think the one that's probably weird might be the November one.
Right. I'm talking about the November.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other suggestions on that November date from other board members? Well, I see we have a retreat also on the 16th. So 9. Okay. Any feedback for us before moving forward? Okay. Are there any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Thank you. There is no action to take on this item. For item 8C, when an ad hoc subcommittee meets or a representative attends a meeting related to their given assignment, board members may choose to bring a report to the board at this time. Would any board members like to report out? Trustee Alvaro?
Thank you. So I have two things to report on outdoor at Johns Gulch. We met again today. It looks like the Y will be coming in May to present to the board because the April 22nd meeting might be a little crunchy. about the ongoing work. They are predicting some cost overruns on the infrastructure pieces, specifically on the staff housing for the naturalists, which are 4 buildings that will hold 5 staff each. And they're predicting that costs are going to come in higher. Kevin Baltimore went out 2 weeks ago and walked the site with representatives of the Y, and Allison Collins was with him and looked at what was going on. And so there's some things up, but it means that the cost of, because the board approved a certain amount of money for the infrastructure piece, which we have now used. I mean, they're not done yet, but it's budgeted out. So anything that goes over that, we have to come back to the full board for. So that, and it would be very helpful for the Y to present what's going on up there. So that looks like that's going to be in May. And I'm talking to President Torres about what the schedule looks like. And then Mr. Baltimore is talking to the Y, so we'll coordinate it. So that's that news. But I had a piece of good news, and I just wanted to share it. Those of you who've been around here for a while remember 2010. There was, I think it was 2010, yeah. There was a terrible accident in San Bruno where PG&E's pipeline blew up, and it was horrible. It was just freaking horrible. What came out of that was some settlement, and this group called San Bruno Community Foundation was set up to administer the money from the funds. And they have made a point of using the money to benefit families in San Bruno. So a new rec center and a whole lot of things like that. But I was really stoked to see a little tiny press release that I followed up on. And I've actually been in communication with the president of the foundation. Her name is Miss Netane Jones. At its March 4th meeting, the board of directors of the San Bruno Community Foundation approved using part of the restitution funds to provide long-term funding to help 5th grade students in the San Bruno Park School District attend our, quote, award-winning outdoor ed program. They awarded a $160,000 grant to the San Bruno Ed Foundation to support the program in the 25-26 and 26-27 school years, because it costs about $130,000 total with the buses and everything. You know, the kids raise a lot of the money, the PTAs raise money. I remember helping the PTA raise money. But then what was really amazing is they designated $2 million as a quasi endowment, they call it, specifically for the outdoor ed program, with annual grants to be awarded from that payout. So they're going to, run it on the interest of about $100,000 per year, beginning in the 27-28 school year. So they're talking in perpetuity, $100,000 a year to help 5th graders in San Bruno Park go to outdoor ed. And regardless of the family's ability to pay, allow PTA and parent volunteers, they said, to focus on supporting some other important school activities. And the quote that they had, which I'll just read you this piece of it, outdoor ed is exactly the kind of transformative district-wide program, an experience that all District 5th graders should have the opportunity to attend, that is ideal for one of the San Bruno Community Foundation's final legacy projects. By making this funding commitment to the program, the foundation is ensuring that San Bruno Public Elementary School students will be able to explore the outdoors and develop valuable life skills through the outdoor education program. And I know I sent this off to Chris Schaus, and she got very, very happy. It's just such, it doesn't come to us directly, but it means that this community values our program so much that they want to make sure all their 5th graders. I spoke to the president, and she said both of her kids, who are now in their 20s, went to outdoor ed, and that she just thought it was exactly what we should be doing with our children. So I wanted to report on that.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the outdoor ed subcommittee? Would any other subcommittees like to report out? Trustee Lev?
Thank you. I just had a couple quick things. The board policy subcommittee has been working regularly and trying to make progress on our backlog and has been doing well. I want to give a big thank you to Susan Alvaro and Chelsea Bonini, Attorney Cho, Superintendent Chavez, and Associate Superintendent Chris Schaus for putting in the time and helping us make progress. And as you saw, we had more policies today. We're working on some more. We'll get that student policy back to us, hopefully in the next board meeting and a couple others. So thank you to everybody. And then the advocacy subcommittee has been just kind of looking at legislation that's either come to us from ACCBE or from the San Mateo County School Boards Association, and kind of trying to get letters and things going and evaluating as we go. And we just got a note from ACCBE about some more policies. Some of them we've already approved. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our policy or advocacy subcommittees? Trustee Gerard?
Yes, I'd like to make a report for the Workforce Housing Committee. And we met, and at that meeting, we found out that Hart negotiated a letter of intent to purchase a building in San Mateo for workforce housing in partnership with the San Mateo County Office of Education. The terms of the agreement are a $55 million purchase price, $7.5 million equity payment from the San Mateo County Office of Education, 35-day due diligence period, and that starts at the purchase and sale agreement signing, and 4 business day closing from the end of the due diligence period. Hart plans to sign the purchase sales agreement this week. The Workforce Housing Subcommittee met last week on April 1st, and we reviewed the structure of a possible purchase with Hart. We reviewed the projection of building pro forma, including estimates of dollars available for reducing rents for educators, and we really kind of did a little bit of a deep dive in that. And committee discussed the drafting of an agreement with Hart, discussed policies and procedures for fulfilling available using Jefferson Union High School District workforce housing as an example. And we really felt like that their policies were very definite and could be, with just a little bit of tweaking, used by our San Mateo County Office of Education. And it's kind of like, why start all over when we have something that's really good that we can work from? And the current thought is 2 agreements will be brought to the full board on April 22nd. An agreement detailing the relationship between Hart and the San Mateo County Office of Education for the building, and an agreement documenting the policies and procedures for operation of the building, including reduced rate targets, process of filling vacancies with educators, both certified and classified, and requirements of tenants.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Workforce Housing Subcommittee? Trustee Love?
I have a question about something else related to subcommittees.
Oh, yes, I think.
Can I ask it?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know if we could hear from the Gateway Subcommittee sometime. I just feel like that's an exciting, interesting committee. It's one of our programs. We're trying to rethink, rejuvenate, whatever the program at Gateway, really to meet the needs of students even better, and either expand it or do something with it. And I just feel like I don't know what the big vision is for that subcommittee and where we're kind of going with it. I hear little things about contracts, but not big picture, not kid-focused reports. So I know you guys are working on it, but I'd love to hear that sometime.
Would someone from the Gateway Subcommittee like to respond?
Well, I can. I also have a report for another committee.
Oh, yes, sorry. Go ahead.
So I wanted to first report for the budget subcommittee. I want to thank Trustee O'Neill and Trustee Gerard for meeting a number of times to focus on getting us prepared for the study session and meeting with our staff and making sure that it's a productive study session where we're hearing about the components of the budget. So most recently we met and we shared back some questions that we had so that we can understand a little bit more about raising ideas of what we're hearing in our meetings around alignment with strategic plan, around where the money is going so that we can understand the flexibility or how things, just so we can understand it better. So it can be presented to us in a way where if we have a question about, for instance, adding something or something that comes up in a meeting, what does that look like? So it's a little vague, but in generally we're trying to dive in a little deeper. So we do have a meeting scheduled soon. I don't even know what day it is, but I think it's next week. So that's a budget subcommittee. Does anyone have any questions about that? And knowing that our subcommittee, it's not our subcommittee, our study session it's coming up. It's like April 23rd or something like that. So yeah, okay. All right, Gateway Subcommittee, we have not met very recently. We do have a meeting scheduled coming up. What is it, next week as well? Maybe I'm not in the right. Policy, or sorry, budget next week. It's next week. So it's next Thursday. So we're going to be getting some updates then. So we don't have any updates right now. And we haven't been, when we raised issues around our last meetings where we were more active meeting, we were actually meeting about the facilities master plan issue. And that's where most of the issues arose from. So that's all we have.
Thank you. Any other subcommittees or representative areas that would like to report out? I am seeing none. Are there any comments from the public?
No comments.
Thank you. There is no action to take on this item. For item 8D, board members will comment. Trustee Alvaro.
Thank you. Just a couple things. I want to thank Superintendent Chavez for sending out that district calendars document. That is so helpful just to have that and not have to look up each individual. So thank you very much. I want to shout out to the San Mateo County Library folks, Araceli Efegenio and her team. I had made a suggestion that as we help our kids improve in literacy and then they leave, that there might be some connection. And so Associate Superintendent Schaus connected with Araceli, and they are very willing, very happy to continue talking and find some services for our kids. So I'm sure we'll have some kind of report back on that sometime, but I'm really thankful that we have that sort of partnership with the library. And then lastly, I was able to attend, as did Ms. Gerard, Nancy McGee's retirement party. And it was a nice opportunity to connect with, some retired superintendents were there that I got a chance to talk to. Some new superintendents I'd never met were there. I got a chance to talk to Jim Cannon and Chris Cannon, and both the daughters came because they're all very good friends with Nancy. And Ted was there. So it was a nice chance to just, on a very casual setting, on a beautiful day on the coast, which we just don't have them like that very often. So good timing. It was just a good chance to connect with everybody, and people got up and spoke and said some things about Nancy that we don't necessarily even know, just different things she was involved in. That always happens when you have something like that you say, oh, I didn't know you did that. So it was a nice event, and Nancy seemed extremely pleased by it. It was a little hard. I have to tell you the truth. It was a little hard to see her and speak to her. because she's not doing well. But she was happy and having a good time. And so it was a nice event. So I just wanted to say, thank you to Marco and all of your little elf helpers that put that together. Of course, Karen Williams was there at the door being the hostess because that's what she does. And so it was nice. So thank you. That's what I have.
Thank you. Trustee Arias?
Well, I'm glad that I'm following to hear what you just said because I wanted to start to just really give a shout out to the team at San Mateo County Office of Ed. Everything that they do that so many times we as trustee don't see behind the scenes, and the cabinet at San Mateo County Office of Ed. Today, again, I want to take this moment to start my comments to thank you for everything that you do, for everything that you coordinate, for everything that you put your heart on. And the work that you do is not unseen and it's appreciated. So I wanted to start with that. And part of that, continuing with that appreciation, March 20th, I got to visit Hillcrest with Dr. Jimenez and Trustee Bonini. We saw the CTE showcase. I have to say that that was my first visit that I've done to Hillcrest, and to have had the opportunity to come to see that for my first visit was really amazing. There were several youth in there, and I stopped to sit down and hear from one, and I couldn't move to the others, and time was up, and we needed to go, and but this young man really put all his time to explain every single one of the 3 weeks of STEM activities that he did and the learning. So share about the robotics project that he had using an iPad and, being able to control it, some lighting with sensors, exploring and identifying rocks and just the way that he felt so much empowered and feeling that he could do it. It was just amazing. So I'm glad that that's happening, and I understand that it has to do with funding, but hopefully, we find that this is something that is going to continue to happen. And he shared his whole presentation with me. That's why I couldn't move from one student, but he got a laptop, and it had like the presentation that he was going to do. He read it all to me, and one of those goals that he had is that one day he wants to go into construction and build a house for his mom. So it's just, it gives hopes and motivation to hear when 3 weeks make somebody, a youth want to do that. So I want to commend for the work that is being done behind. Sometimes we don't see it unless, we go and visit. Or it's not the same than when we hear from a report, which is great with the reports, but when you're there, it really takes a different feeling. So that was on March 20th. March 24th, I did go, not representing, but wanted to hear about the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission. So I went to that meeting, and also another positive thing I heard from the presentation was by this executive director, John Lamb from Create Innovations. And the title of the presentation was Pathways to Stability, Mentorship, and Reentry Support for Justice-Involved Youth. And he talked about the Legacy House in Oakland. And I think, again, it's just motivating to hear when others around our community are doing good work. But I did wanted to bring to the board just a comment about, in that meeting in item 4, delinquency prevention line. There were 3 items: education, the transition planning for incarcerated youth, meaning when they're in there and they have to move back into their school districts, and the roles and responsibilities of probation, San Mateo County of Education, and the school districts. And item C was compliance concerns about that. So I know I sent an email to President Torres, And I really want to again say thank you, because from that email, I was offered a meeting, and today I met with President Torres, Superintendent Chavez, and Associate Superintendent Chris Schaus, and we sat, the four of us, and talked about some of the things that I heard and what is happening behind the scene. And I think we came into the realization of how important communication is, but it's also that we sometimes need to know, not need to know, but also feel what is it that are some of our priorities and some of our, the strategic plan and LCAP goals are. And when this information comes in, how do we place it into those, right? And I think, right now, Trustee Love asked about like Gateway and what's happening and the students, right? We want to know about the students. And I think it's a little bit of that. What I heard there is kind of like, how do we focus on that, but based on what our priorities are and what we, as a board, as a governance of Corrigan Community Schools, can support and focus on, whether it's asking questions, whether it's asking for reports. And at the end, it's those students who are going to be, benefiting, and their families with the supports that are placed according to how we funnel all of that, because needs are a lot. There's so much needs in our community with our students, with their families. But I think what's important is hearing information and try to funnel it into, I don't know. I think Chris, you said it better than me, but maybe yeah, we're having the discussion. But the important thing is, I think that I got from our meeting today is really, how do we work together, right? And in this case, one of the important things was the planning, the transition plan. And it's something that needs to be collaborated, not just in San Mateo County Office of Ed, but within the probation department, within the school districts, right? Because it's one student that is kind of touched by the different agencies. And so I appreciated that that's the work that is being done, again, behind the scenes. And it's a lot of work, but it's important work. And I appreciate that it's already been worked on when I came with those questions. So that's already part of what they're working. So thank you again for that. And then on March 27, I went to the training for the OYE conference at Cañada, because March 28 was the conference. So it was great to OYE conference, Orgullo y Educación. So pride and education. And we had the keynote speaker, Dr. Manuel Alejandro Perez, who's the president of Cañada College. And I had the honor to volunteer with Superintendent Chavez and Trustee Bonini. And just seeing all the youth and the resources, the tabling, the information, I think next year is the 15 years of this work. And when I started, I said, I appreciate the work that is being done, and having our superintendent representing and being a volunteer there really, again, shows how much important work is being done in San Mateo County Office of Ed. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Benigni?
Thank you. Just have a few things. First, I wanted to share an update around the San Mateo County School Boards Association. We are our mighty committee of, I think, 5. We're working through reviewing the 20 applications that we received, which we're really excited about that. But also, a lot of reading, and we're almost through them. So thank you to Trustee Gerard, who is on that committee. We are planning on doing visits, hopefully in the next, spring breaks are upon us and we're kind of midway. So probably the next week. So we're starting to reach out to districts. So that's great. And then don't forget that event is on May 8th. So we'll be sharing more information about that in the registration and everything. But more work to do. We also have our final quarterly meeting on April 20th. where we will welcome our staff from the county office to present around, and I think elsewhere as well, to present around the Seeds to Solutions environmental curriculum. And we are trying to get some legislators to join us since we weren't able to do our brunch. So we might have some legislator representatives, maybe not them, but in any case, we're welcoming them. And if we have questions around things that are happening, we'll have a little bit of a forum for that. So that's great. And that really takes us through the end of the year, although we are in the midst also of the nominating committee, which also Trustee Gerard, I think, is on that committee. Yes. And so hopefully that will proceed. I think that's the last function of the year besides the other things. So that's great. Then, yes, I also wanted to just share a little bit about the visit that Trustee Arias and I had up to Hillcrest. We actually went to Canyon Oaks and then we went to Hillcrest. And the CTE showcase was amazing. The things that were most, that's poignant for me were the fact that I think it was the second time, but many of the students had their parents there. And you know how unusual that is because they're at Hillcrest. And so it was just special. And there was such joy in the room, and the parents were just like every other parent, right? They're proud and their students are presenting on these amazing projects. And they were indeed amazing. We saw some of the robotics things that they were working on. And the second thing that just uplifted me was honestly how they were uplifting each other. So what we learned from the staff and also from probation was that the students who were in the program who did the last session, they're not always in the same space, but they were very much working, you know, collaboratively. And when they had an opportunity to share out at the end of sort of the presentation of the science boards, if you will, that kind of the part, they didn't all speak, but many of them did. And I had seen them at a prior visit, some of them working on their projects, so twice in the last few weeks, but they were uplifting each other. And there was one student who doesn't really speak any English, and they were dually translating everything. Also, Trustee Arias made a beautiful statement just about, you know, how special it was. And just everybody sort of had a chance to say that, but they were uplifting each other. It was just really, really special. It was a moment, a space like you didn't want to leave. And so we did leave eventually, but after they did those, the parents did leave, and then they transitioned to doing their presentations to each other on their PowerPoints, and they were amazing. So that program is just, it's like such a bright spot. So I had to share about that. And then I just want to just touch just briefly on the, I guess I didn't go to the JJDPC meeting, but and I'm not going to overshare, but I just wanted to say we are also addressing that within the policy committee. So that will come to us in that space as well. And yeah, it sounds like it's a lot of good work going on, and we're moving forward. So I think that's good. I don't think, it'll be great to see when we comes back to us. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lev.
Thank you. I did attend the vehicle license fee event, and Superintendent Chavez did an excellent job really highlighting the impact of these possible cuts on children in our community. Definitely the voice for kids, so really appreciated that. And I got a little thank you note, as you know, the form letter from Mike Callaghy, and I did respond saying thank you, and will the county be working with the county office to get the money that the state is taking from us as well. I haven't heard back, but they did reach out to school districts to have us come and support this effort, and so it would be nice to get some support as well. We'll see what happens. And thank you again to Superintendent Chavez and the team for the newsletters. I think it's really great to kind of get that connection and hear what's going on. And I think the last one was a team effort.
We're moving in that direction. It's always going to be a team effort.
Okay.
Moving forward.
I got that impression that
Yeah.
everybody was working on it. So that was great. So I appreciate that. And then also just finally the Climate Ready Symposium. I was really happy to see that some of our trustees have signed up for that. I did another push today to the district trustees to encourage them to come to this event. It's something that I was involved in when I worked here, and it's really a great event. So I'm happy, and if more people can come, that would be great. So thanks.
Thank you.
It's on the 29th of April.
Noted. Trustee Gerard?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to kind of piggyback with Trustee Alvaro on the celebration for Nancy. It really was very lovely. And I think that everyone was very pleased that they were able to speak with her and see her since her retirement. And as she said, it was an absolutely outstanding day. The venue was right on the water, and it was just gorgeous. So it made for a lovely house. And I was so happy I was able to attend. I also just have to piggyback just a little bit on what Trustee Arias said on the transition of our students out of our court schools. That has been something I have been screaming about for a long time, and saying how important it was. And I felt like it was really falling through the cracks. And I know that we're really working on that now, but I just want you to know that that's something that I have talked about for a long, long time, and have gone to a couple of excellent presentations at different conferences on that exact subject. And so I'm very happy to see that we're working on it. I do want to go to the dinner on April 20th for the San Mateo County School Boards Association, which I had not signed up for yet. So I do want to attend that. And I also, as Trustee Benini said, have been working on the Kent Awards, and it's always very exciting to work on the Kent Awards and see all of the amazing things that are going on in our county, in our districts for our students. And there again, we as board members don't get to see all those things. So I can't wait to start visiting some of them. That is always very exciting. And we really have some wonderful things going on. So it's been a busy last couple weeks. I've had several meetings with the ACCBE group on things that are coming up. And we will superintendent, Trustee Arias, you just got a promotion. Aren't you happy? And I are going to the ACCBE conference in Riverside this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. We have some really excellent presenters, and I think that it'll be very productive. So we're excited about that. And I'm also very excited about our housing subcommittee workforce and what we're doing there. So I want to thank Kevin Baltima for helping put this all together and coordinate not only the questions we have, but the questions Hart and everybody else has, and they all go to him. How lucky can he be? So thank you so much, and thank you for helping us. We really appreciate it. And again, we do appreciate everything the county office does. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I want to echo our thank you to our county office staff, just because these subcommittees are making so much traction and doing such amazing work, and that's possible because of the county staff. So there's a lot of time, love, dedication, and thought put into everything. So a huge appreciation to everyone involved. And then thank you for those weekly updates. I do read them because as a principal, I despise doing them because no one read them, but I do read them and they're very helpful. So thank you. I know there's a lot of time that goes into that, but I really feel like I have a bigger sense of what's going on as opposed to before. And then just a moment of gratitude for Superintendent Chavez. So I wasn't at the OEA conference, but I checked in with some students who did attend, and they were happy to see you there. they were surprised. They're like, "Wow, he came on a Saturday." I was like, "Yeah." And then I also got to see you speak at the VLF rally, and just seeing you in those spaces as an educator and as a Latino just makes me very proud. And just, I'm so grateful for you. And I don't think I can say that enough, but thank you for all the work that you do. Moving on, and that is all I have. So moving on to item 9, we have our adjournment. Our next regular meeting will take place on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 at 7 p.m. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.